It's the one and only optibotimus coming to you with another video review. If you're an old subscriber, thanks for coming back. If you're a new one though, welcome. Before you leave, if you like this video, make sure that you hit that subscribe button and bell notification so that you get instant email notifications whenever I upload a new review. And on today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at the new Hot Toys MMS 509 of the 1/6 scale Bucky Barnes from Avengers Infinity War. And I guess you could kind of say that this is the first Bucky figure that we've gotten. The two previous figures were all named Winter Soldier. So I guess one could assume that the whole reprogramming that T'Challa was doing in Wakanda actually worked. And the only real remnants of the Winter Soldier would be his arm. For the package though, very similar to all those other Infinity War figures that we've gotten. You got a nice image of Bucky right there with the Avengers A there in the kind of background right there. It kind of bleeds over to the opposite side, so it continues over. You see Bucky Barnes. You got this nice gold foil text down here which says Avengers and Infinity War. This side here has that really cool image of the Infinity Gauntlet there in what kind of looks like a Starfield. Of course, you got the Avengers A there. Back of the package, warnings and contact information for Hot Toys. And while this really isn't, like I said, a Winter Soldier figure anymore, he still has that star logo right down there. Then when you lift this up, the back of the package shows the cast and crew responsible for making the figure. Come around to the other side, and here we have the open window that fully showcases a figure as well as all of his accessories. But for the packaging on this guy, that's about it. So without further ado, let's get him out here and see how cool he actually is. Alright guys, so here we have Bucky Barnes open up and out of his packaging. And as always, first he does come with the instruction sheet. Not really too much to go through in this. It's actually pretty small. It shows how to articulate his head, how to articulate his arm, and then on the inside here, how to swap the arm out with the blip effect, how to load the machine gun, how to holster his dagger, all fairly simplistic stuff. But as always, you do want to make sure that you go through this just so that you don't cause any damage to your very expensive figure. Now, starting off first with his accessories, coming down to take a closer look at him. In addition to the two fisted hands that are currently on him, he comes with a both right and left hand that are kind of clutching of sorts. They're roughly sculpted in the same position, but I feel like his mechanical hand is a little bit more pulled back at the fingers than this one. Both have a tremendous amount of detail. Taking a look at the gloved hand here, you can see really nice detail with the padding in, like half finger sort of look. Even on the inside here has some nice sculpted in detail. And then taking a look at the mechanical hand, this one really does look nice. You got a very nice gunmetal gray that has a very nice sheen to it. And then all of the individual lines are picked out in this really nice gold color. All of these hands have that amazing amount of detail. So then the next one you come down to is a pair of relaxed hands. Both have that same amount of detail on them. You also have a pair of hands that are designed primarily to hold his dagger. Bringing in the dagger, you can just slip that in just like that. I'm trying to remember when he used the dagger, probably in the end battle, but I don't really remember too much of that. That's all kind of a blur. So you do have a right and left hand that is designed to hold that. You also do have a right and left hand that is designed to hold his machine gun. For that, you just come around here and then obviously slide all that down there, get the finger in the proper position, so you do have all those hands. Now, one thing that, and I'll point this out later on, setting this there, one thing that's nice is you do get a couple extra wrist pegs. Obviously, you have a flesh colored one for that side of the hand, or arm, I should say, and then you also do have another one that is designed for the mechanical arm. One thing that's really nice, and it's going to be hard to see here in the little plastic, is that they have some sculpted in detail that is very much like the sculpted in detail of the rest of the mechanical arm. The only thing that kind of sucks is it doesn't have any of the gold detailing on there. That would have been a nice little touch, but I really like that they actually went that extra mile to put that added detail in that. That's really cool. You also do get a pair of, well, not even a pair, it's just buttons. Somewhere on his suit has a button, so if you lose a button, you get an extra button. Then you come to his machine gun. You can take this. You obviously can open this up, set that there. This can extend out. This is the exact same gun that he used in the Civil War. So can this rotate all the way around? Yeah, I feel like that can. Yeah, you can rotate that all the way around, have a little holster thing there. You can collapse that in. You can take this piece, slide that up. That'll sit underneath there. You can also take this little side bit, lift this, and you can bring in the clip, and you can plug that in there, and you can have that. He also does have a sight thing. This one, it doesn't sit in here very well. You got two little holes right up on there that this slots into. I don't feel like it sits in all that well. It feels kind of loose. If it just sits there, it's probably going to be fine, but I feel like that's going to be a little bit more loose, I guess. Oh no, actually it's in there pretty good. But I no longer, oh, you can lift that up. I no longer have that Winter Soldier version to do a comparison, but I do know that this is the exact same gun. The only difference is the paint job. I want to say that there's a little bit more gray put in this than the other one, but regardless, it's the same gun, and that's fine because it was accurate. It's what he used. I'm perfectly okay with it. He also does have the blip effect. That's what I'm calling it, or disintegrating arm effect. Now, this, I don't really know how I feel about this. I don't like a lot of effects with my Hot Toy figures because it makes it look toy-ish. And this definitely does. I appreciate what they did. And even on the arm section here, you can see you got a nice amount of sculpted detail with that paint that really does nicely capture the original's look. But then when you come to the dust section, looking at it, it's hard to capture that disintegrating effect because it was basically them turning into dust, and it's very difficult to recreate minute little granulars that would be flaking off. So they did it in this kind of look, which I mean, I don't know. I feel like the detail like around here where it's all jagged and everything, and like you can see like there you have a little gouge right there, and then you look in the back and you can see that kind of disintegrating look. Again, I don't really know how I feel about this. I don't know necessarily if I'm going to display this with him. But I mean, and then you look at like the lines here where it's attached, you can kind of see it. If I get it in the right light, you can kind of see the disintegrating effect and how it looks like it's a separate piece from the arm. That kind of breaks up that illusion as well. So I appreciate that they included it because it was a very pivotal scene. This was the first character that we saw blipping, and I use that term because that's what they decided to call it in Spider-Man. So I like that they included it. I don't know what else you could have included with him because all he really did was have a gun and go around and shoot, and he grabbed Rocket, maybe a hand to use to grab Rocket, to have him holding Rocket and spinning around shooting. So I don't know, but this was definitely a pivotal aspect of the movie that I'm glad that they included it. I just honestly I don't know how I could have improved this. If they were dead set on including like something like this, I don't know how they could have done it differently. I mean, you look at the detail and you do see a lot of nice pitting and things throughout there. It's just from a distance, I guess it looks good. Up close, you do see those minute sort of problems with it. You can see that it attaches via a ball joint. We're just going to pop that off and I'll put that on there so you'll see how that looks. And then finally he does come with his display stand. All of these are the hexagonal shape Avengers Infinity War thing. You got that nice varnish on the logo that in the right light looks really cool. You obviously have the adjustable crotch grabber, and then Bucky Barnes there, of course, not on the little chrome piece. I do wish they would bring that back, but I do like the uniformity of these. That looks really nice. But accessory-wise, he's fairly light. There's not a lot, as I said. I don't know what else you could have included with them, but I'm happy with what we get because it represents him as we saw him in the movie. So, light on accessories, but accurate. Now, coming in to take a closer look at the figure, I really do wish that I had the previous Winter Soldier to do a comparison for you guys. Unfortunately, though, I did have to sell that one to be able to get this guy. But once again, Hot Toys has displayed that if they get the chance to revisit a character, they always put their best foot forward to improve upon what they previously did. And with Bucky here, that is no exception. The sculpt on here is fantastic. The stubble on here, which is sculpted in there and then very nicely painted, all looks wonderful. You can see a whole bunch of different like scars on his face as well. That really does look nice. I also really love the detail in his eyes. Hot Toys, again, does an amazing job with putting life into the paint applications when they're doing those eyes. And his have a lot of life in them. That really looks amazing. The hair looks good. The sculpted and the detail in it is really nice. Some angles in the movie, it looked like he had lighter brown hair than this. This doesn't bother me, but I do wish there was a little bit more of a brown element. I mean, this looks like it's brown, but like a wet brown. It's not bad, but I just wanted to point it out. Now, one other thing that I want to point out is that in terms of an accuracy sort of thing, when you get this, these are like up like that, and the hair comes down, and that's there. Realistically, and I went back and looked at the movie, they should be down on the side like that, which is an easy fix. You just kind of put it down there, and it kind of gets held down by his hair, so that just further adds to the accuracy of the costume. But when you take a look at it, again, the stitch work and detail in the costume is amazing. I mean, all of these different lines are all stitched on there. It looks wonderful. You got these little pieces up here, little shoulder bits. Those are kind of soft floating pieces, so it doesn't really restrict the arm articulation or anything of that nature. But really great detail throughout there. You can open this up if you wanted to. It's got a magnetic flap, which is nice, so it keeps it nice and tight to the body. And then you have a zipper here if you wanted to bring that down and get access to just his black shirt. I don't know why you would want to. He never really had that. But I feel like something like this is a nice addition. I mean, we never saw him do that in the movie, so it's nice that they put that in there. That's a real nice attention to detail. Again, the stitch work around the rest of it looks great. Coming around to the back of it, you got some nice detail added on there. Again, the stitching is phenomenal. You got some little button sections, all these little bits right here, which I have no idea what they are, if they're just extra things, whatever. I love this piece right here. I never really noticed this in the movie itself, but it almost looks like a smaller version of Captain America's shield. You got like an arm kind of armor on this one, because obviously this one is his new Vibranium Arm. Now, some people have talked about how that this is kind of disappointing. Focus, camera, because now he no longer has that star right up there, where people have been talking about how that Winter Soldier one that I sold from Civil War is probably going to be worth even more, simply because he's not ever going to have that little star on his arm again. I don't mind it all that much, but the detail on this is absolutely terrific. You can see all those really nice panel lines like I was talking about. Really gorgeous detail throughout that. I did want to show this. You pull this piece off, and then this was what I was talking about. Let me come in here so you can see that again. Again, this is really nicely detailed with those lines going around it, very much like the lines here. The only way they could have made that better, and you can really see that nicely on that side, is if they actually painted those lines, because as it is, you're going to have this on here, and you're always going to have that exposed joint. It's not bad or anything, but if you put those painted details on there, I'm like, that would have blended in there very, very nicely. I love how that really looks. They didn't have to put that sculpted detail in there, but they did. The only other thing that I would talk about would probably be in terms of the arm detail and the sleeves and everything, would be this. I do wish that this was a little bit longer to kind of cover that up, but that's not too egregious, I don't think. And then you come down to the pants again, really nice stitched in detail throughout the entire thing, nice patterns, different materials. Like this is kind of like a faux leather section, and then this is almost like a, not really a denim, but like a cargo pant sort of thing. You got that nice holster section right here, which you can take his blade, and that will nicely sheath right in there. And then you come down to the lower section again, real nice cargo pant detail. And then you got these little, I don't even know what these are called, stirrups, I don't know, but they come down, and then they have an elastic section that come underneath the foot to keep those down. Really nice. And then again, just to illustrate how the swap out gimmick works, you pull that out like that. It's just a ball joint, and then you put that on there. It is a little bit tricky because I don't like pushing on these different pieces, but you can create that form, which again, I don't know. I mean, Steve, I mean, I like it. Like I said, it's just, I wish that it was somehow done differently, and I don't even know how you could have done it differently. Just because, like I said, you're trying to recreate dust. And I don't know. First articulation, the head is here on a ball joint, so you can move this around. Do be careful when you're rotating it around, though, as the hair does kind of get in the way of things. But you got a really nice ball joint there. Two basic ball joints. You got a lower one and then an upper one that really allow you to get a nice full range of motion with it. I don't feel like anything is at the lower neck. There might be, but it's really hard to tell. And I don't know if they did away with that because of the body. I'm not certain. One thing that's also really nice is the material that they use doesn't really restrict his movements that much. I mean, it does get a little bit bunched up when you're rotating it around, but you use some manipulation of it and you can get a good range of motion with this, which is quite impressive. You got that ball joint up there. You have a swivel at the upper part. You have two joints at the elbow itself. You do have those wrist pegs for the rotation and then the little thing back and forth like that. His Vibranium Arm just has a ball joint right here, but it also hinges outward. You can rotate that all the way around. Doesn't have a rotation up at the bicep. All that rotation is done down here. So you got the bend at the elbow and then it rotates also at the elbow, and I just realized that that looks really unfortunate. So I apologize. Videos are not meant for children under the age of 13. You have that same type of ball joint section for this hand. I do want to say that there's a torso bit. You can see it does flex, move side to side, rotates, all that. And then again, the pants do a real good job of manipulating very easily without restrictions from the pants, forward, back, in and out. I mean, you can kind of get it in some good poses. I mean, really good wide out pose right there. The rotation at the upper part of the thigh. It does feel like there's soft ratchets. I don't know. You can kind of hear it. Soft ratchets for the knees, which is interesting. And then you come down to the ankles, and then I feel like it's just like a shoe that he's wearing because the joint is right here, so he's not really wearing boots, but you do have a ball joint section for the ankles so that you can get good wide poses for him. So overall, articulation-wise is fairly standard. There is a little bit of a limitation in his I didn't even have that down all the way, on his Vibranium Arm, so just be aware of that. But overall, the articulation is solid, does what you need it to do, and you're going to be able to pull off some pretty standard poses for the Winter Soldier. Or should I say, ex-Winter Soldier. Overall, though, I'm actually really happy with this figure. Well, yes, he's a little bit light in accessories. At the $243 price that he runs, I actually think that's pretty decent. The biggest difference between this one and that previous Winter Soldier figure would probably be the portrait. It is much more accurate on this one than that. Which, to be honest, is the standard modus operandi of Hot Toys in general. Each time they get to revisit a character, they usually improve upon them and make them a little bit more accurate. It's just their fine-tuning of the process that we get to witness. The costume on this Bucky figure is gorgeous and beautifully captures how it looked in the film. The only thing that's really a downgrade from previous versions would be the accessory count. He doesn't come with a lot. But again, I feel like that $243 price point reflects what we do get with it. I think if we got more accessories, that would obviously push the price up higher. And seeing how he didn't really use much other than this gun, there's no real need to kind of pad this release with extra bits. Even when you're looking at something like this, while I don't think it was executed as nicely as I would hope, I understand why it's difficult to do that. I mean, basically the blip effect was them turning into dust, and I don't really know how you could recreate that in terms of a plastic molded piece. So for what it is, I'm happy with it. There are some bits, like in terms of the kind of line detailing where it kind of matches up with the actual arm, that I wish was done a little bit better, but it's a nice accessory to have nonetheless. And honestly, looking at it like this, I might just position him in my display looking like that. It kind of does look cool. And again, he was the first person to kind of blip out of existence. So that very heart-wrenching process that we saw in Infinity War of all of our beloved characters blinking out of existence started with Bucky. So I guess it kind of makes sense that we would get this accessory with him. So all in all, I do really like this release and highly recommend it. It is, as I said, the most accurate looking version of Bucky Barnes that we've gotten to date. And all in all, I am very happy with my decision to pick this guy up. So all that being said, if this version of Bucky Barnes is a figure that you'd like to add to your collection, he is available right now at Big Bad Toy Store. Same prices as others, but always double boxed at no additional charge and $4 flat rate shipping. Big Bad Toy Store really is the best place online to get your Hot Toy figures. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. Remember, if you like this video, I would really appreciate it, guys, if you would do one small thing for me. And that's just to simply hit that thumbs up button. We all know that YouTube is all over the place right now, and we have no idea what the future holds. But doing small things like that really do go a long way towards helping me out, and I would really appreciate it. I'd also like to send a huge shout out to all of my patrons. Thanks to you, reviews like this continue to remain possible. And finally, remember, the real trouble with the world is that too many people grow up. Thank you for watching and taking the time to be a collector.